In this video, we're going to dive deep into the essential pass concepts of the veer and shoot offense. And we're really going to focus on option routes that adapt to different defensive alignments and coverages. We're going to break down the concepts themselves rather than focusing on a specific formation, allowing you to use these principles in any formation or veer and shoot playbook that you want to use. These concepts are incredibly powerful, and once you master them, you can truly unlock the full potential of the veer and shoot offense and make it one of the most dangerous schemes you will use in college football 25. So before we get into the breakdown of the plays, I want to go over a few ideas that you need to understand that will help you master these option routes and have a deeper understanding on how they work. First up, understanding the differences in formations. We're going to discuss how to utilize 3x1 formations, and this can include empty sets where we have 3 receivers on one side and 2x2 formations effectively. And our play calls are going to change depending if we're in a 3x1 or a trips look or a 2x2 set. Then we're going to go over how our option routes will change depending on the defensive coverage, whether it's a 2 high or a 1 high coverage. A 1 high coverage means there's one single high safety patrolling the deep middle of the field, and you're typically going to see this in a cover 1 or a cover 3 defense. And then when I say a 2 high defense, this means there's 2 deep safeties over the top, which you'll often see in a cover 2 or cover 4 defense and some man coverages as well. And now the option routes are going to change depending on the coverage we face, and this is what makes the veer and shoot so powerful. And when you understand how these concepts work against these looks, it can enable you to fully exploit all the defensive weaknesses. Then right now on my YouTube channel, I'm breaking down 3 of the best veer and shoot offenses we have ever seen in college football, so you can take what you learn here in this video and apply it to any of the full veer and shoot offenses I am working on. So if you want to check out everything that I have out so far for the veer and shoot, I'll link a full playlist down below. So the first play we're going to look at is deep choice out of 3x1 sets. So this can be run out of any trips formation, and this can include empty or when we have a running back in the backfield. Now this is a classic veer and shoot play with multiple option routes on the field, making it highly effective versus any type of zone coverage, and it's great to attack all levels of the field. Now my usual setup for this play will have 2 option routes to the wide side of the field. Then we want to take our number 3 wide out, and we want to have them running some sort of crosser to the short side of the field. Then we also want to have a clear out route on the short side, and lastly we want either a running back or one of the other receivers, if we're in an empty set, running a route to the flat on the trip side. All right, so starting with this deep choice concept versus 3x1 sets. Now, first I want to look at these 2 option routes. These are really what make these air raid concepts so unique, is the amount of option routes and how they operate. So whenever we see 2 high safeties, then our slot receiver is going to run basically a hitch. Whenever it's zone coverage, whether it's single high safety or double high, he's going to run a hitch. Where it's really going to change is this outside player against a 2 high look. He's going to run a post over the middle. Against a single high look, he's going to sit down on the zone, and we're going to have double kind of sit routes at about 15 yards down the field. So we're going to look at these option routes first. We see 2 high safeties pre-snap right here. So that should mean we're going to get the sit route and the post in behind it. We're going to have the deep crosser. We're going to have a sit route, and we're going to have the post coming in behind it. So look at that. So we have a deep crosser here, post here. This route sits. If the user leaves to take this deep cross, that is just going to open up a big passing lane over the middle of the field for this post as he breaks in against that 2 high safety look. I believe we throw that one more time. So here's 1 high safety. Here's 2 high safeties. We're going to have the deep over route in the middle. We're going to have a sit route. Then we're going to have a post breaking in. So you can see how much of these defense this crosser will take. Here's 1 high safety here. Here's the 2nd high safety, sit route, post breaking into the middle, and we can just drop this in for a giant gain down the field. So that post against 2 high works very, very well. Now against man coverage, this is going to run a post a lot of the time as well. So what you're going to see is you're going to have this route, the inside slot route is going to run a dig instead of sitting. Boom. Then this guy's going to run a post over the top, and we see just man coverage across the board. So now really works against zone coverage, against single high, 2 high, but now we have dig route, post route, both going to break open versus man coverage. And here we bomb them deep over the top with this post route. no safety help. We're able to turn this upfield into like a 45, 50-yard gain against man coverage. Okay, now I want to look against single high defenses. So we have a single high defense. Now what's going to happen with our two option routes is they are both going to run about 12 to 15-yard sit routes and sit down against the zone. So we're going to have one here, one to the outside. Now, I always like to have my inside receiver here on some sort of crosser. This is going to help hold those users in the middle, or if the users jump out to our sit routes, then you can throw the crosser over the middle. But as you can see here, we have both these guys sitting down in the zone. If the flat defender bites down, we can go to either one of these guys. Here I go to the inside one. He's more open. Drop it into him 1st and 10. That's like a 20-yard gain down the field. So that's how it works against single high with our option routes. Now against single or two high, we also have this deep cross. So how I like to have this set up is I like to have a clear out route on this side and always have some sort of deep cross going to the short side of the field. So then here we don't even have to worry about the option routes. We have a sit route, we have a post. But if I see the users more playing in the middle over the post route, that should mean this deep crosser on the other side of the field is going to get wide open. We drop that inside the 2-yard line for a really nice pickup. So that was against a two high defense. Here's the deep cross against a single high. It's going to work the exact same way. So we're just kind of reading these inside hook defenders. If they widen out underneath our two sit routes, then we want to look to that post over the middle. Next, we have choice deep drag. This is usually run out of 2x2 formations or empty sets, and the option routes are always going to be on the two receiver side. This concept will once again have some great option routes that can be super effective against any zone defense, while also performing very well against man coverage as well. To set this concept up, I like to come out with my two option routes to the wide side of the field. Then I take one of my receivers on the other side and motion them over and run a streak, which helps clear out defenders. Then lastly, I like to have either a receiver or running back going to the flat on the option route side of the field. All right, so now we have the play choice deep. Now, choice deep is one of my favorite veer and shoot concepts. I think it's very, very good. Now, most of the time for this, it's only going to be found in a 2x2 set, or it's found in empty, but the two option routes are always going to be on the two receiver side. But what I like to do is I like to bring one of the receivers from the trip side, or if it's a 2x2 set, I bring one of the tight end or slot receiver over and make it a trips on this side. Usually I'm going to have some sort of clear out route. You can throw like a deep crosser on this side, but I think it works better to have that third receiver over here. First, I want to talk about our two option routes. Now, against a single high defense, they're showing two high here pre-snap. They're actually going to rotate to a single high. What we're going to do is we're going to have this inside slot is going to wheel up the field. Then instead of running towards this deep third defender, he's just going to sit down in the zone right here. Then the inside slot against single high, he's going to come up and he's going to sit. He's going to actually get a little bit deeper and sit right here. So similar as the last concept, where we're going to have two option routes sit down versus a single high zone defense. So we're going to let this run, and you're going to see the wheel is going to wheel up, but instead of running to this defender here, right, if he just wheeled all the way up, he's going to sit down in the zone. And then this guy's going to sit down in the zone as well. This was 1st and 10, and they're sitting at 17 yards. So they actually get pretty deep down the field, and they're just going to sit down in the zone, and we can drop it up over this linebacker's head in front of this deep blue defender. But we can also throw the outside one. This guy here, if the flat defender bites down, we can also throw this one. So you can throw either of those as they sit down. Okay, so you can see I brought this receiver over. Bring your trips look on this side. Still single high defense here. We're going to have our two sit routes. And what do we see this time? We see the linebacker sits on the sit route, the inside one we just threw. Now we look, the flat defender gets brought down by the drag, and we have the other sit route, the outside one, sitting down along the sidelines. You can go to either one of those routes there. Now against a two high defense, these routes are going to be a little bit different. I want to show them. So our option routes are now going to work like this. The outside receiver right here, he is now, instead of sitting down in the zone, he's going to continue to wheel up the sideline. The outside player here, instead of sitting down in the zone, he's going to turn into a post. So now it's a post wheel with our option routes. And this is one of the reasons I like to bring this route over. He's going to help clear out these zones for this post over the middle. So now when we let it run, we're going to see this inside switch release. This guy's going to wheel up the sideline. Then we're going to have a post in the middle right here. Now this clear out route is going to pull all these zones back. We can drop this into the hole right here. We do have one where I throw it. We can drop this into the hole, or we have the post over the middle, and we can just fire in this post as he breaks in behind that clear out route. So this is against a too high zone. Here's too high zone again. So it's going to be one right here, one right here, two deep safeties. We're going to have a switch release on the left here. So our wheel's going to wheel out. Our post is going to break in the middle. Our clear out route is going to help pull back this safety. And look at both these routes are open. We could drop this in here, but really against cover 2, this wheel is going to get wide open up and as a hole shot that you can drop in back of the end zone here against a too high look. Drop it in for a huge gain. Okay, then the last aspect of this play is I like to have a clear out route here, but then I always like to have, whether it's this receiver, if I have a running back in the backfield, I want a drag coming to our option route side, right? We have a clear out route, our option routes. I want to drag some sort of check down coming to this side to either pull flat defenders down to it or as just a check down option if everybody's staying back. So right here, we have a tight end on a drag going across the field. If everyone's playing kind of back, I get some pressure on my face. We want an easy check down to this side of the field. I throw in this drag, make a guy miss, and we pick up like 15 yards with the check down. Then if you want to take your game to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now, I have a video to pair with this where I break down 3 more plays that utilize these option routes and are more essential veer and shoot passing concepts that you can use to make your veer and shoot passing game so much better. Then also on the site, I have my RG3 veer and shoot offense where you can have a full scheme based around these principles, and I have a ton more on the way for this whole veer and shoot scheme. Then there's also a ton of different offensive schemes on the site. Also, like my dual threat QB offense where I break down some of the greatest running QBs of all time and how you can use them to their full potential in both Madden and College Football 25. Then also have my spread to run offense where I broke down 3 of the best college offenses of all time, and I have multiple defenses on the site, like my Nick Saban defensive scheme that works for both Madden and College Football 25. So by subscribing to the site, you'll also get access to all my Madden 25 content and my College Football 25 content for one price. So if you want to purchase memberships, you can get the yearly membership, which will save you $50 over the course of the year. Then I'm also running my mobile QB sale on the site, and this will run until November 28th. Use code VEER at checkout to get 50% off your first month if you do the monthly membership. Now, if you want to check out the site, I will link it down below. Next, we're going to be looking at slot choice out of 3-by-1 formations. This concept does an incredible job of attacking down the field with our slot receiver on the option route, and this route will change depending on whether the defense is running too high or one high zone, making this play incredibly difficult to handle. To set this up, come out with your trips to the wide side of the field. Then we always want to have our inside slot or tight end on a crosser. Then the backside solo receiver is going to be on a clear out route, and our running back is going to be going to the flat. Okay, next up we have the play slot choice, and this is out of a 3-by-1 set. So how I like to set this up, always trips to the wide side. We have our option route. We're really going to focus on the option route a ton right here. And against a single high defense, he's going to do one of 2 things. If he gets a free release and doesn't get jammed, he is going to run right up the seam. If he gets jammed, he's actually going to turn to a hitch. So that's against a single high. So there's one high safety. Now we just want to watch this happens. He doesn't get jammed. That means he's got a free release up the sideline, and we just want to fire this up right away. Don't even think about it. Just fire that ball in there. We're going to look at it again. Same thing on the left side now. Watch this player. If we see single high defense, if this guy doesn't jam him, he's going to get up the seam. Nobody's going to be close enough. You want to pass lead this inside a little bit. See, I'm passing it inside away from that defender, but that is it. Drop it up the seam. If he's untouched, you can just do that every single time. Okay, so right here, pre-snap, we are seeing too high, but they're actually going to rotate down to a single high look. So against single high, if this player gets jammed, now what he's actually going to run is a curl route. So I want to see this. You're going to follow this guy. Oh, he gets jammed. That automatically means he's going to sit down in the zone. Now we have matching curl routes right here. If the flat defender goes out to this curl route, then we can just throw our guy right here as he sits down in the zone. So if he gets jammed against a single high look, he's not going to continue up the seam. You have to be aware of that. Okay, now against a too high defense. So here's one high, here's too high. Now this inside slot is going to run a post over the middle. So we're going to have a deep crosser, then a post. So If the deep crosser pulls everyone out of the middle and like kind of down on him, then we're going to have the post coming in behind him. So with crosser, post gets open in between those safeties. We drop it in for a really nice gain. So now we can attack 2 high, single high. I think we throw it one more time here. Oh no, against man coverage now. Against 2 high, he's going to run a post. Against man coverage, he's going to run a post. So single man coverage right here. They have no safeties over the middle. Boom. Breaks into the middle on a post. So now you can run this route against single high, 2 high zones, man coverage as well. Throw that post in. We get wide open there. Break a tackle. Break another tackle. Right before the half, we score a 75-yard touchdown against man coverage running this slot choice versus trips. Other kind of parts of this play is going to be our deep crosser. We like to have a clear out route on the short side of the field. If we don't like the look of our, sit route or our option route, look to the crosser, clear out route. He's going to get like 30 yards down the field. You can just drop it in for a really nice gain. Then we also have our running back in the flat. So run the play action. If the running back pulls down the flat defenders, then we can go to this outside sit route right here, this outside curl, drop it in over his head. If those guys stayed back, then we can check it down to the running back in the flat. Then finally, we have slot choice, but now I want to run this out of 2x2 formations. Once again, we're going to have our slot on an option route, and this will change depending on the coverage the defense runs, and this concept does a great job of attacking zone coverage. Now to set this up, choose a slot choice in any 2x2 formation, or you can pick slot choice in 3x1, and you can motion over a tight end or inside slot player across the formation, and we always want to have this player on the opposite side of the option route on a streak. Then we always do want our slot option route to the wide side of the field. Then I like to have our outside receiver on the wide side on a corner route, and I'll break down why I like that player on this route here in a minute. Okay, now we're looking at slot choice out of 2x2. Now, like I kind of said before, you can run it out of a base 2x2 set, or we can start in a 3x1 and then motion our third receiver over like I am here. So we had a tight end on this side of the field. I actually motion him over to create a 2x2 look. Now, how we like to run this is different of slot choice versus trips. Instead of having this guy in a crosser, now we want him on a streak, and it's going to be more of like a 4 verticals type concept. Then we also want this guy on a corner route. Now, the reason we want this guy on a corner route on this is the 2x2 version is because I've found he is going to help pull this outside cornerback down and out, which now we can actually get this seam up the seam way more with a 2x2 look. And we can actually basically have a 1-play touchdown variation. And the reason for that is because this corner route is going to pull down the corner. And then this tight end or the slot receiver on the 2x2 side is going to help hold this safety in the middle of the field. So now I want you to watch. This option route works the exact same as slot choice for his 3x1. If he gets jammed, he's going to sit. Single high, he's going to run a seam. 2 high, he's going to run a post. So watch right here. If he gets a free release, he's going to run up the seam. See this outside corner here? Because of this corner route, he has to play more wide and respect that. Just for half a second, the safety has to play in the middle of the field, and now this seam is going to get wide open. We can pass lead this up and away. This is from 37 yards out, plus I'm 5 yards back, plus it's a 10-yard end zone. So this is like a 50-yard bomb we can throw up the seam out of this 2x2 choice look. So we can run it as kind of a 1-play touchdown, or we can throw it quickly. So we can just wait, look out here. We see he's not getting jammed. Don't have to wait and pass lead it down the field. We can throw this much sooner and just drop it in between these 2 players up the seam. So that's against a single high look. Now, the other thing we can do against a single high is if this guy gets jammed and he's going to sit down, right? I don't really love to throw those sit routes that much. Now we have this other tight end or other slot receiver running a seam route, and we can just throw this ball up the seam, keep it in between those 2 players, and that is another option versus a single high look. Now, also against a single high look, we can look to the short side of the field, so we can high-low the flat defender on the outside, and if the flat defender stays on the running backs, throw the curl. If not, then you can throw, the running back in the flat, and you can just drop it right there. So these essential veer and shoot plays will be great, but remember there is a part 2 of this video up on Scheme Kings where I break down 3 more veer and shoot essentials that you can add into what you learned here. But then if you want a full breakdown on the idea behind my full veer and shoot scheme with a deep dive into personnel we want to use and the principles and idea behind the veer and shoot, then you need to check out the intro video for the whole offense right here.